1988 was a great year for entertainment, seeing the release of films such as Beetlejuice, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Die Hard, Rain Man, Child's Play, Coming to America, and the cult classic They Live, which starred Rowdy Roddy Piper. The music industry saw the release of such great albums as NWA's Straight Outta Compton, Soundgarden's debut album Ultra Mega OK, and Living Colour's Vivid. Television saw the debuts of shows such as Roseanne, The Wonder Years, Murphy Brown, Cops, and America's Most Wanted. But all this paled in comparison to what was happening in the World Wrestling Federation. Vince McMahon continued with his competitive tactics, promoting the first ever Royal Rumble on cable television, up against the National Wrestling Alliance's pay-per-view, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Hulkamania still ran wild, but Macho Madness was on the rise. Join us on this trip as we journey back to 1988. At the end of 1987, WWF champion Hulk Hogan rejected Million Dollar Man Ted Dibiase's offer to purchase the coveted title. Dibiase went back to the drawing board and began the year with a new plan. Striking a deal with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Dibiase purchased the services of Andre the Giant. The plan was for Andre to do his bidding, defeat Hogan, and surrender the championship. Things were made official at the first Royal Rumble event, with Hogan and Andre sitting down for a contract signing. In the end, Andre flipped the table on top of Hogan and left with Dibiase and his bodyguard Virgil in tow. February 5th was the date of the most viewed professional wrestling match in television history. On the NBC special, The Main Event, Hogan defended his championship against Andre, featuring one of the most controversial finishes in history. Dibiase paid off referee Dave Hebner to screw over the Hulkster. The dirty deed occurred after Andre hit a butterfly suplex on the champion and covered him, with Hogan clearly getting his shoulder up before the 3 count. Hebner ignored the kickout and crowned Andre the new WWF champion. True to his word, Andre surrendered the title to Dibiase and strapped it around his waist. As Dibiase cackled in victory, Hogan took out his anger on the referee. To the shock of everyone, an unknown identical twin of Dave Hebner rushed to the ring. A confused Hogan looked back and forth at the twins, not knowing which one Dibiase had paid off. It didn't matter, as the Hulkster laid waste to both referees, even tossing one over the ropes and onto Andre, Dibiase, and Virgil. WWF President Jack Tunney wasted no time in clarifying that the Million Dollar Man wasn't the rightful champion. The title was declared vacant, with a 14-man tournament announced for WrestleMania 4, with the winner becoming the new WWF champion. Both Hogan and Andre received a bye to the second round and squared off to open the round. All order was lost as the two behemoths clobbered each other with a steel chair to cause a double disqualification, eliminating both men from the tournament. The field thinned out until there were only 2, with the main event championship match featuring Ted Dibiase against Macho Man Randy Savage. The now beloved Savage had spent the past few months settling his feud across the country with WWF Intercontinental Champion the Honky Tonk Man, and now set his sights on a bigger prize. But Savage had obstacles to overcome, with Andre lurking around ringside. Savage's valet, Miss Elizabeth, raced to the locker room and returned soon after with the Hulkster by her side. Hogan evened the odds and cracked Dibiase on the back with a steel chair for good measure. Savage launched himself off the top rope, hitting a flying elbow drop onto Dibiase to seal the deal and become the new WWF champion. An emotional Savage hoisted a teary Elizabeth onto his shoulder and pointed to the air in victory. The scene ended with Hogan congratulating the new champion. Dibiase would continue his chase for the WWF Championship, earning a rematch against Savage inside a steel cage in June inside Madison Square Garden. Savage once again emerged victorious, with Dibiase forced to devise a new plan. That plan was revealed on the July 9th Superstars, when Dibiase and Andre the Giant brutally beat down Savage. Elizabeth was traumatized, forced by the hands of Virgil to watch the pummeling. With the first ever SummerSlam pay-per-view on the horizon, Bobby the Brain Heenan helped form the team of Dibiase and Andre, better known as the Mega Bucks. They collectively agreed to face Savage and a partner of his choosing at SummerSlam, but only if a competent referee could be named. Enter Jesse the Body Ventura, who agreed to officiate the bout and be an impartial referee. Soon, Savage introduced his partner, Hulk Hogan. With Elizabeth by their side, Hogan and Savage christened themselves as the Mega Powers. It was during this time that the swindling zealot Brother Love made his debut. Hosting the aptly named Brother Love Show, weekly interview segments aired that progressed storylines and built up superstars. It was revealed that his ministry was funded by Ted DiBiase, who appeared on the segment often. Jesse Ventura appeared on the segment just before SummerSlam, only to be interrupted by the Mega Bucks. DiBiase paid off Ventura, stacking the odds against the Mega Powers and revealing that the fix was in. SummerSlam came and it seemed like all hope was lost for the Mega Powers. With the referee in their pocket, the Mega Bucks dominated the match. Before going for the victory, the Mega Bucks became distracted by Miss Elizabeth. Standing on the apron, Elizabeth removed her skirt, revealing a red bikini. The Mega Powers seized the opportunity, and DiBiase was down for the count after a flying elbow drop and a big leg drop. Ventura stalled to count 3, but Savage forced his hand to the mat to secure a win for the Mega Powers. In June, the Doctor of Style Slick introduced the WWF to the Big Bossman, a former prison guard who came to the ring with handcuffs and a nightstick. He wasn't shy about using them either to pummel his opponents. During an episode of the Brother Love Show, Slick introduced Hulk Hogan to the Bossman. Slick sprayed hairspray into the eyes of Hogan, blinding him while Bossman struck him in the throat with a nightstick. Hogan was then cuffed to a guardrail, where he was pummeled some more. The Hulkster eventually hulked up and chased off the Bossman while still handcuffed to the guardrail. In the fall, another member of Slick's stable would undergo a transformation. The one-man gang became Akeem, the African Dream. While on assignment, Mean Gene stumbled down a dark alley, only to find Slick and Akeem dancing by a burning barrel. Slick formed the formidable duo of Akeem and the Bossman, collectively known as the Twin Towers. On the October 2nd Superstars, Ted DiBiase and Virgil shared the stage with Bobby Heenan and his client, Hercules. DiBiase announced that he'd purchased the contract of a Heenan family member to be his personal servant. Hercules was surprised to find out that it was his contract that had been purchased. Angry, Hercules refused, which was met with disdain from Dibiase, who attacked him from behind with a briefcase. WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage recruited Hercules to be on his team for Survivor Series, joining the likes of Hulk Hogan, Koko Beware, and Hillbilly Jim. Their opponents were Dibiase, Bossman, Akeem, Haku, and the Red Rooster. The action dwindled down to the Mega Powers against the Twin Towers and Haku, with things looking bleak for the heroes. Hogan found himself handcuffed to the bottom rope, while Savage suffered the wrath of the numbers game. Against all odds, Savage outlasted the competition. Elizabeth obtained the keys to the handcuffs from Slick and released the Hulkster, who tagged right in to finish the match and earn the Mega Powers of victory. The winner of the first Royal Rumble was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, eliminating one-man gang to score the victory. Duggan went on to WrestleMania to face Ted DiBiase in the first round of the championship tournament. Andre the Giant interfered, swiping at Duggan's legs and costing him the match. An irate Duggan confronted the Giant on the following week's Superstars. Andre quickly subdued Hacksaw until Duggan used his signature 2x4 to knock the Giant unconscious. The two would battle across the country, most famously battling in a lumberjack match inside the Boston Garden. King Harley Race sustained an abdominal injury on the March 12th Saturday night's main event. Race dove off the ring apron onto a prone Hulk Hogan, who was laid out onto a table. Hogan moved, sending Race crashing into the table. This injury left the WWF without a king, leaving manager Bobby the Brain Heenan searching for an heir to the throne. On the July 9th Superstars, a coronation occurred, with Heenan introducing the new king, Haku. The Honky Tonk Man began his year as Intercontinental Champion, finishing his feud with Macho Man Randy Savage. The two faced on the infamous February 5th episode of the Main Event. Honky Tonk Man narrowly escaped with his title, but Savage smashed the guitar that initially caused all the controversy. Brutus the Barber Beefcake was next in line for an Intercontinental title shot, falling short of his goal at WrestleMania 4. Despite the loss, Beefcake escaped with a lock of manager Jimmy Hart's hair. Honky Tonk Man continued the feud, smashing his guitar over the back of Beefcake on an episode of Superstars. Beefcake was set to receive another shot at the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. Days prior on Superstars, the outlaw Ron Bass attacked and bloodied the Barber with his boot spurs. This was in retaliation for Beefcake cutting Bass's rope Betsy in half. Honky Tonk Man would still have to defend his title at SummerSlam. The Ultimate Warrior was revealed as the replacement and would defeat Honky Tonk Man in 90 seconds to end his epic reign as Intercontinental Champion. Jake the Snake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude battled to a time limit draw in the championship tournament at WrestleMania 4. The following month on Superstars, Rude took notice to a particular woman in the front row. He and manager Bobby the Brain Heenan approached the woman, who had no interest in Rude. When asked why, she revealed that she was there to see her husband, Jake the Snake. This brought out Roberts, who attacked Rude and resulted in a pull-apart brawl. Rude knew he'd struck a nerve and continued to instigate Roberts in interviews and promos. The feud reached a new level when Rude revealed his new tights. Spray painted on the front was the face of Cheryl Roberts, Jake's wife. Jake the Snake rushed the ring and ripped the tights off of Rude, leaving him bare on the mat. Roberts declared that if Rude tried to wear tights like that again, he'd rip those off too. Rude donned the tights at SummerSlam, and Jake stood true to his word, stripping Rude mid-ring. The big match occurred on the October 29th Saturday night's main event. Again, the match went to a no contest as Heenan caused a disqualification. Coming to the aid of Heenan was Andre the Giant, who made quick work of Roberts. But Roberts opened his green bag, unleashing Damien on Andre. It was on this night that we learned about Andre's fear of snakes. Demolition dominated the tag team division, defeating Strikeforce at WrestleMania 4 to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. A rematch between the two teams would take place on Superstars, with Demolition injuring Rick Martel. Meanwhile, a newly focused Hart Foundation were rising in the ranks. After dumping manager Jimmy Hart, the Hart Foundation became the #1 contenders to Demolition's titles. Jimmy Hart partnered with Mr. Fuji, spilling the Foundation's secrets to Demolition. The title match took place at SummerSlam, with Jimmy's megaphone aiding in Demolition retaining. A rematch occurred on Saturday night's main event in October. This time, Jimmy Hart's new team of the Fabulous Rougeau brothers cost the Hart Foundation the match. Demolition captained a team at Survivor Series, opposing a team captained by newcomers, the Powers of Pain. Mr. Fuji shocked the world by turning on Demolition and siding with the Powers of Pain. Demolition sought revenge, but would have to wait until the new year. WrestleFest occurred at Milwaukee County Stadium on July 31st. The event featured the Ultimate Warrior versus Bobby the Brain Heenan in a weasel suit match. WWF Tag Team Champions Demolition defending against the British Bulldogs, and Jake the Snake Roberts against Ravishing Rick Rude. In the main event, Hulk Hogan battled Andre the Giant inside a steel cage. Andre bloodied Hogan, but the Hulkster managed to escape over the top of the cage to secure a victory. Vignettes began airing in the fall of an athlete the likes of which we've never seen. He was a master at pool, chess, golf, and basketball, among other sports. His name was Kurt Hennig, but you can call him Mr. Perfect. The Royal Rumble featured an excellent 2 out of 3 falls match between WWF Women's Tag Team Champions, the Glamour Girls, against the Jumping Bomb Angels. In a match far ahead of its time, the Angels shined. They picked up an impressive victory to become the new champions, 2 falls to 1. Meanwhile, Sensational Sherry spent most of the year as WWF Women's Champion. Her luck ran out in November in Paris, France, with Rockin' Robin becoming the new champion. In the fall, Bobby the Brain Heenan welcomed a new tag team into the Heenan family. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, who made names for themselves as part of the 4 Horsemen in NWA, became known as the Brainbusters. They quickly became embroiled in a feud with the Rockers. The year featured notable debuts, including Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, collectively known as the Rockers, the Bushwhackers, Rugged Ronnie Garvin, the Blue Blazer, and the Red Rooster. We even saw the return of Big John Studd. The British Bulldogs got Matilda back and intended to unleash revenge on Bobby Heenan and the Islanders at WrestleMania 4. They teamed with Koko Beware, ultimately falling short in their efforts. However, Matilda got the last laugh, attacking Heenan in the aisle. George the Animal Steele debuted a new stuffed animal, which he affectionately named Mine. The doll sported a green tongue and a bald spot with fur all over, just like the animal himself. He'd carry it around with him everywhere, from matches to promos. During the fall, Hulk Hogan unveiled his short-lived Hulk bonnet. Essentially, it was a helmet with a giant fist on it that Hogan would use to headbutt his opponents behind the referee's back. The intent was to sell replica Hulk bonnets, but the gimmick didn't last long enough to see the light of day. Bad News Brown debuted early in the year and quickly made his presence felt. At WrestleMania 4, he turned on his short-term ally, Bret Hart. Hitting him with his signature Ghetto Blaster, Brown eliminated Hart to win the 20-man Battle Royal. Hart got the last laugh, destroying Brown's trophy. The two feuded, culminating in a match in the summer at WrestleFest. Brown picked up the victory, hooking the tights for leverage. By year's end, Brown still hadn't received a title shot of any kind. He confronted WWF President Jack Tunney on the Brother Love Show. Tunney was accused of protecting Macho Man Randy Savage and possibly having Elizabeth doing favors for him. On the final episode of Superstars of the Year, Savage attacked Brown in the ring, leading to a giant pull-apart brawl. This bitter rivalry spilled into the new year. But something else was eating away at the Macho Man. Find out what next time on Squared Circle History.